99 Nights in the Forest is huge. Millions of people playing, diverse classes, various challenges, and also many enemies wanting a piece of you. Brookhaven, the most played game on Roblox for years. A quiet city that often presents no danger at all. So, I was thinking, what happens if we mix the most popular game of the past era with the most famous game of today? Well, since we're inside Roblox Studio, the first thing we're going to do is clear space to place the campfire right here in the middle. That will be quite easy. We just delete everything in the middle of this area and also remove all this floor so we can put a forest floor in its place. Now that this spot is much cleaner, we're basically going to take this floor and extend it like this. This way, we can fill this giant empty square with something, right? And now that we have a floor, we're going to come here to this option and give it a grass color. And now that we have all this space here, we can click in the middle and place a small campfire. The campfire I found is exactly the same as the one in 99 Nights, and the only thing we have to do is place it exactly in the middle here for the surrounding area to start looking like a forest. I also found other items here, which are basically trees and plants that we have in the game. So now we place the trees here and duplicate them to start having some kind of forest here in our Brookhaven. I think this quantity of small trees is already great. And now, for our forest to be a little denser, I'm going to duplicate these gigantic trees here so we have a slightly more, darker forest, etc. And we also have this item, which is a stone, and this one, which is a bush. The same way as the trees, I'm going to scatter them around somewhat randomly, right? So we have several stones in our Brookhaven, and I'll do the exact same thing with the bush. Okay, it's starting to look pretty cool, but as you can see, our forest still looks like a city square, because it's in the middle of a big city, and that doesn't make much sense. That's why, using the terrain tool, I'm basically going to carpet Brookhaven using this grass here. This way, any sign that civilization was here will be destroyed by our grass. And I'm not going to do this only in the center of Brookhaven, I'm going to do it all around here too. So we have grass all over our Brookhaven. I know that the rest of the Brookhaven map already has a lot of grass, but I prefer to place this one because this one is much cooler. And I say that because our grass here is a little more realistic, and I think it looks much better in Brookhaven this way. And as you can see here in my tests, the grass is basically working perfectly. So now it's time for us to start placing some enemies. The first one I'm going to place will be the wolf, because it's one of the first enemies that appears in the 99 Nights game. Well, honestly, they don't have a fixed spot, right? They stay kind of scattered in packs. So I'm going to try to spread as many packs as possible here throughout our Brookhaven, okay? This way we'll have a lot of enemies here in our Brookhaven, and it will also look quite realistic. And even though I scattered the wolves quite a bit here, you can see that there are still few enemies. So now the next enemy will be the alpha wolf. This wolf will stay a little close to the normal wolves because he's like the leader of the pack and stuff. But unlike the normal wolves, I'm only going to put one of each near the normal wolves, right? So we don't have too much difficulty walking around this Brookhaven here. I'll even place this alpha wolf sometimes a little separated from the others just so we have a different variation of enemies here and a better distribution. Speaking of better distribution, you can see that it's still quite empty here. That's because we also haven't placed trees in these spots, so it will certainly look very empty. And look, just by placing these smaller trees, it already looks much better. But of course, I'm also going to place the big trees here because I think they're very cool and I think it will look great too. But of course, we also can't exaggerate so it doesn't look weird, right? So I'll go easy on these gigantic trees here. And look, at least this side of Brookhaven has started to look very similar to 99 Nights. The next enemy we're going to place will basically be the bunny, right? Because it's a cute little bunny and there are several scattered throughout the entire 99 Nights game. And well, honestly, I'll have to put a lot of these, right? Because as I said, they are scattered throughout 99 Nights and are one of the first sources of food we have in the game. And as I said, there's not much secret to this. I'm literally going to keep duplicating them infinitely here until we have a lot here in our Brookhaven. So this is going to take a little while. And well, as you can see, all those white dots are little bunnies. So I put a lot of them here in Brookhaven. And besides the bunnies, I'm also going to place these more cells here, right, which are the meats in 99 Nights. I'm going to put several here around our campfire, just like we usually leave things in 99 Nights. Following the same logic, I'm also going to place some logs here on this base, as if we were actually playing the game. So, there really are a lot of these items scattered throughout the game. And if we place one on top of the other like this, it even looks more realistic, as if we had really dropped all of them here in the middle like this. Another cool thing I found here was basically the cabin, right? It's one of the cabins in 99 Nights. And well, honestly, there isn't a fixed place for us to put them, but I'm going to put them scattered in some specific places in Brookhaven because, as you can see, we already have Brookhaven constructions that already make it quite crowded, to be honest. So, I'm going to try to put few of these cabins so we don't have a bunch of random items scattered around here, right? And of course, the creature that can't be missing is definitely the deer. He is the main villain of 99 Nights, and we can put him anywhere in Roblox. But the place I want to put him is right here on top. I know we are not even editing this top part here, but at least he will look like he is observing us from above as if he were waiting to hunt, you know? And among his partners here, I also have the bot that we can place somewhere else. In Bot's case, I'm going to place him coming out of the cemetery here. I don't know if that's exactly his spawn location, if there's a specific place, but it looks cool here too. I'll just spin him a little here because he will also be watching us from afar. And finally, we are also going to place the owl here, right? Honestly, I've never seen her in the game. I was lucky that she never appeared to me, but as you can see here, she is very cool, and I'm also going to place her here on top of our Brookhaven store. And now, at least, we have plenty of enemies here on our map, but we still need to place people here. Well, one of them is the polar bear, right? Honestly, I didn't plan a place to put him, but I'm basically going to put him up on the Brookhaven mountain. Well, Well, in the current Brookhaven, this mountain is made of ice, so it makes perfect sense, right? Since this is theoretically like a polar bear den, I'm going to place several of them scattered throughout Brookhaven. And the cultists, basically, I'm going to grab them and put them in the only place in Brookhaven that, well, could have cultists, which is this little church here. I'm not going to leave them exclusively here in this place because there are also cultists in several places in 99 Nights, right? But think of this place as some kind of cultist base. But as I said, there are several cultists all over Brookhaven. And well, placing several of these cultists looks very similar to when we have some kind of attack, you know? Well, I think the only creatures we are missing to place here are the children, right? In which case, I found the 4 of them here in Brookhaven. And just like 99 Nights, we have to place each one in a dungeon. The first child, if I'm not mistaken, is in a structure surrounded by wool, which in our case will be the fire station. I'm going to put him right inside here as if he were inside that room, you know? Since this is technically his dungeon, I'm also going to increase the number of wolves in this area here. The second child, if I'm not mistaken, the child's dungeon is surrounded by a bunch of alpha wolves. So, in that case, it will be the Brookhaven ice cream shop here. And since it's the alpha wolves dungeon, of course, we have to have several alpha wolves here in front of the dungeon. The next child will stay here at the Brookhaven Hotel, since we already placed several bears around here, right? So, it's certainly a very appropriate place for us to place the child who is in a bear dungeon in 99 Nights. And well, I don't know where we pick up the last child. I don't know what the last child's dungeon is like because I've never gotten that far. And since I don't know, I'm basically going to log the child here together with the owl, right? Because, well, I'm sure a dungeon where we have to pass through this giant owl here would be quite complicated. Well, incredibly, all the living beings we were going to put in our game are done, okay? Honestly, I think it's looking pretty cool, but we still have to make some changes here to our Brookhaven. Well, certainly one thing that is completely ruining our atmosphere is the sky here in Brookhaven. But no problem because here on the side we have several sky options, and one of them is this completely cloudy sky here. But I didn't like it much. I think this sky here, despite being very simple, at least works well with our map. And for a game that is supposed to be at night, this game is too bright, so we can change that by making it night like this. And for this bonfire area to look exactly like 99 Nights, I'm basically going to place this light here. And by tinkering with some settings, we can make this little light have a much larger area. Campfire number 1, I'll leave it a little smaller like this to look normal, just like in 99 Nights. And now to hide this little light, we just put it underground like this. Honestly, this even looks scarier, and this area is certainly very similar to 99 Nights. And the last item I want to put here in Brookhaven is basically the entire lobby. As you can see, down here, there's actually nothing much, right? But, in reality, the lobby is up here, and it is exactly that old 99 Nights lobby. This part is separate from the rest of the game. I'm basically going to put it up here like this. And well, I made a few more changes to the map off screen, but now I'm going to show you how our game turned out. Well, as you can see, it basically looks very similar to 99 Nights, right? Of course, within my limits here, but really here, at least this part, looks quite similar, right? It has the small campfire with a limited area and so on. Unfortunately, during the map creation, I didn't find anything that would be like an axe or something like that that we can actually break these trees with, okay? Unfortunately, that's a limitation of making the map this way. Another cool thing is that the deer, when it's night, his eyes glow just like in the normal game, right? So this turned out really awesome. Well, one of the things we didn't necessarily make, we just placed here, is basically the lobby, okay? Unfortunately, I can't access it because of these walls, but as you can see, it's the old 99 Nights lobby. Very cool, very neat. Coming over here, we have the first dungeon, okay? And it actually turned out quite similar, okay? I think I exaggerated the number of bears, but as you can see, it's here, right, like the place where the children are kept. And the only reason the bears aren't coming after us is because I locked them down in Roblox Studio, okay? Otherwise, they would come after us, and it would be kind of annoying to explore the map. Same thing with the dogs, okay? I also locked the dogs because if I left them free here, they would hunt us, and it would be a bit difficult to walk around the map. But as you can see, our map turned out really cool, okay? Clearly, I didn't include the whole of Brookhaven because there was no need either, right? As you can see, the area I delimited here with our grass was enough, and I also wanted to leave a bit of Brookhaven so it would look somewhat like a fusion. But hey, did you like the fusion of 99 Nights with Brookhaven? If you liked it, like and subscribe to the channel and watch the videos around the screen. And see you in the next video.